Guys, it's time to review Nobody. So, is Nobody a new action classic, or is it just another forgettable action movie? Today, we'll be doing Zoe on this movie. Okay, I didn't need to do it. I didn't hit that. Nope, nothing broke. Don't worry. But Nobody is a movie basically about this guy. He basically is a nobody. That's why the movie is called Nobody. He basically is just some normal guy. And the first parts of the movie basically shows he's just a normal man. He's just a normal man. He has a wife, kids, and a job. And he's just a normal person that's working like a normal person. He isn't really anyone special until later on in the movie. Where he actually does something. So the first part of the major part of the movie is when these guys rob these people. Okay, one of them's a woman, because of course we have to be progressive now. Okay, but these people rob their houses, and he fails to defend his house, and these people but then they take his money, but then they realize they took the girl's bracelet, and it's not okay. So he goes after these guys. He tries to find out what he was. The first time they finally found him, but then he realized there was just a kid, that's a family struggling with a baby with a baby not doing too well, and he goes back. And then the first major action scene appears when he's on the bus, and these guys were about to beat up this girl, or do other bad things to the girl, and then he basically beats them all up in the movie, and he basically just beats them up. It's a pretty good action scene in this movie, and yeah, that's a pretty good action scene in this movie. Because throughout the movie becomes more and more and more like John Wick. There's even plot parallels to the movie, like when for example, in the movie they kidnap him in the movie, and the main villains of this movie are these Russian guys who, it's kind of similar to how in John Wick there's these higher guys behind the movie. There's these higher powers in play. I'm not talking about God, but I'm talking about these guys who are, in terms of powers, these guys are these guys are very powerful in terms of business and crime, and now he has to fight these guys. And the climax of the movie is basically, they even go after one. There was one part where he goes after his father, which he's in an elderly care home, and they're about to get rid of him. They're about to oof him, but then he basically just grabs him with the weapon and just pulls out a shotgun out of nowhere and kills both of the guys. And the guy's like, really? What's going on here? And at the end of the movie, the old guy, which is his father, and the other guy, the who has been looking after the area, him, they basically both team up with the main character, who his name is Hutz, and they basically do, it's basically all of them versus an entire little army. So it's like the John Wick movies, essentially. It's very much like those movies. And the ending scene of that movie is very much like that. And then there's also scenes where he's in the car, and they're about to kidnap him, and he basically sprays them all, and sprays them with the fire extinguisher, and he is able to escape and get back home. There's also a scene where he burns down his house with all the criminals that he was able to take down, and he basically makes his family flee somewhere safe until they get a new house at the end of the movie. And of course, this movie is kind of set up a sequel where the characters are moving out, where you see his grandfather and the other guy. Basically, they said, why can't we go on a plane? And they said, and they have all these guns and weapons. They actually confirmed this movie is getting a sequel. So I don't have to add to it. If this movie does get a sequel relatively soon, for example, then you won't have to put this movie on movies that need a sequel, because this movie should get a sequel, because we want to see more of this, like John Wick. Okay, this is like John Wick. We want to see more of this movie. We want to see more of this character, and I think that's why, Okay, that's why, And it's like John Wick. The first John Wick, you want to see more of John Wick. But you already knew there was more of John Wick. So people who didn't get who didn't have an opportunity to watch John Wick the first time. They get to watch this movie the first time, and now they have that sensation. Yeah, we need more of this, and it's gonna become a cult classic, just like John Wick is. And that's what I think this movie. So this is actually the first good John Wick ripoff movie because it's actually made by the writers of John Wick. So the way it's again the writer of John Wick is already a brilliant writer, as well. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, this movie is a pretty good and amazing movie. Definitely a much breath of fresh air in the face of woke entertainment and wokeness as well. So that's basically about Nobody. So what scores I give Nobody? It's a 9 out of 10. Definitely much better than most Marvel movies. Goodbye.